At these brothers, man, I want to talk to you about something, and I'm borderline pissed off at myself that I haven't talked to y'all brothers about this before. Because I came into this revelation around 2016, 2017. And once I understood this, brother, like this is when my life just started doing cartwheels, started doing exactly what I wanted it to do, right? And what I want to share with y'all brothers is that you're not broke. You're not toxic. You're not depressed. You're not suffering from all these things, or whatever other labels people have put on you or you have put on yourself. All these things don't describe who you are. You're simply cursed, brothers. I'm going to say it again, man. I need y'all to really understand what I'm saying. You're not broke. You're not toxic. You're not depressed. You're not none of these things. You're cursed. You're cursed. What do you mean, so? Like, there's a reason, man. There's a reason why I'm always stressing that a man must know who he is, where he's going, what his truth is. He must be tied to purpose. Because you got to understand, if a man can't associate with those things, he's actually living his life in like a limbo state. He may look like everybody else. He may be getting up, going to work every day. He might be married with kids. He might be a deacon in the church. He might be a active member on the PTA board. He may look normal, but real talk, he's living his life in limbo, which means he's subject to. Which means his life is governed by the ether that surrounds him, and he has no control over that ether. I don't want to go that angle. Because that'll be a whole other conversation. I'll say it like this. Like the Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Like, this is true. And everybody takes that quote and they can associate it with, okay, I can speak my life into existence, or I can speak things into existence, or I can, you know what I'm saying? But nobody looks at it as just raw power, which means if everybody on this planet is walking around and are actually made in the image of God, then whatever people are speaking is what is. Whatever people are speaking is what is. And again, if you aren't tied to that, who you are, where you're going, what your truth is, tied to your purpose, you're subject to those words that are coming out of everybody's mouth. We talk about this in the power circle all the time, man. We talk about, like, when the Bible talks about spell work, or you're about people casting spells, bro, that's a real thing. If 2 or 3 brothers get together in a corner and start talking about you, if you haven't identified who you are and moving in that purpose, brother, their words can have an effect on you. The words can have an effect on you, whether you're in ear range or not. Their words can have an effect on you, right? And that's just an example. But when I say people are cursed, most of the time it's something that you either heard or experienced or went through or whatever. Meaning a lot of people's lives are mundane. A lot of people's lives are stagnant, aren't fruitful, whatever word you want to put in that scenario, simply because at some point in their life, somebody told them they were worthless. And they might not have looked you in your face and said you're worthless, but maybe they did say it. Maybe they said it to somebody else and you overheard it. Maybe their actions showed you were worthless. Maybe an old teacher showed you were worthless. Maybe a father or a mother were abusive to you and put hands on you the wrong way or whatever and showed you were worthless. Maybe an uncle or aunt did something to say you're worthless. But at some point in time, somebody told you that you were limited, that you could only be a certain thing, and you bought that. You bought that. You heard those words and you absorbed those words into your being. And now you're cursed because of that. You know what I'm saying? At some point, somebody, you went and applied for a job. And you went and applied for a job and somebody said, oh, well, you don't have a degree or you don't have this experience. So we're going to give you, $5 an hour or whatever minimum wage is. We're going to give you this. And you said, okay, well, since you told me that I don't have the degrees that everybody have, or that I don't have, or I'm not from this city, or I'm not part of this organization, or part of this fraternal order, then I'm not worth getting X amount of money. Like you told me that, and I absorbed it. So a lot of y'all's bag are jacked up because you're cursed by somebody else's words. You're cursed by some governmental or societal standard. And your life is doing a certain thing, and it's like you can't get out of it, and you have no idea why. You have no idea why you can't get out of it, man. And I'm telling you, it's because you're cursed, man. You could have been in a relationship. You could have been in a number of relationships, and somebody said, you know what, you're toxic. Or to y'all sister, somebody could have said, you know what, this sister a hoe. And real talk, you could have been in a hoe state. Real talk, some of y'all brothers could have been whoremongers, and you let somebody put that on you. So now that's how you live your life. That's how you live your life. You've absorbed somebody's words instead of retreating and becoming something new, right? And the way it works is, like, y'all hear me talk about, I say the same things over and over, man. Like when y'all hear me talk about who are you, where you going, what the truth is, that truth is vital. That truth is vital because when you accept low vibrational words and bring it into your system, and now it's your truth. That's why I say a man must know where his truth is. You have to understand, you have no option but to create that. Let that soak in for a minute, brothers. You have no option except to create what your truth is. That's how powerful your truth is. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't care how hard you try to get out of it, you can't escape it. It's unescapable, man. And that's the beauty of your truth. But you gotta understand, it's like a whale, man. It's like a whale. Matter of fact, it's exactly like I'll tell you exactly what it is. When you talk about truth, I'll use the word truth. It's the same thing that Napoleon Hill called hypnotic rhythm. It's the same thing that religion calls prayer. All three of those are the exact same thing. You have to understand, whatever your prayer is what you are. So you might, and I'll break it down like this. You might be going to the gym 7 days a week out of saying that's what I'm supposed to do. But if your truth is saying everybody in my family is 500 pounds, everybody in my family has blood issues or high cholesterol, if you're saying that over and over and over to yourself where you believe it as your truth, it don't matter if you go run a marathon, it's still going to be your situation. You cannot run your truth. You let somebody tell you you're worth X amount of dollars per year. If you accept it, see, that's the thing about a truth, man. The thing about a truth is it has to be agreed upon. Like I say all the time, man, you can really understand a lot about life. You can understand about a lot about relationships. You can understand a lot about a lot of things in life once you understand yourself. Like that picture in my office with the gold and the black. Like for things to come into be, for things to be manifested, for things to be brought into fruition, you have to understand both of those sides, your ego side and your spiritual side, have to agree on something. They have to agree. As long as there's two different truths, a spiritual side is saying all things are possible, and an ego side saying I'm limited by XYZ, credit score, college degrees, and all this stuff. Then your life is gonna always be in chaos. But when your life comes to one singular truth, shameless plug on the book if you haven't got it. When your life comes to one singular truth, that means you've agreed on something. That means now you're walking in one order. And if you're walking in that one order, it has to be. It has to be. So all I'm saying is a lot of people's order right now is I'm broke. I can't make that 6-figure mark everybody's talking about. I can't get these pounds off of me. I'm toxic. I can't find me a husband or a wife because the girlfriend I had in the 9th grade told me I was toxic. So now I'm living with that. I'm creating with that. You know, pastor told me I was worthless. Mom and daddy told me I was worthless. They told me I would never be something. So I live by that. I create with that. Therefore, my life is full of shit. You got to understand how strong your truth is, brothers. It's everything, right? And the only way to come out of that, man, the only way to break a curse is to become. The only way to break a curse is to become, is to be something else. Shameless plug again. If you haven't registered for the subscriber appreciation masterclass, 4 levels of becoming, numbers are coming down. It's only 1,000 people will be to sign up, and I'm gonna cut it off, right? Make sure you click the link and sign up for 4 levels of becoming, man. Because the only way to come out of, to break the curse is to become. Is to become. In other words, is to put your own ether around yourself. Again, if you who you are, where you're going, what your truth is, if you don't know those, you're subject to the ether around you. In order to become, you have to put your own ether around yourself. This is how life works. This is how life works. Think about this. Think about a baby, right? Think about a baby being, I guess the word is conceived, right? Still in his mother's womb, right? Now that baby has no alternative on what it's subject to. Mama might be eating clean. She might be eating wholesome foods. Mama might be smoking crack. She might be smoking weed and drinking Henny all day. That baby has no control of it, which means that baby's development is strictly based on what's inside of that womb, right? Has no control. But once that baby is born and develops and gets its own mind, now that baby can say, you know what? Now I'm gonna put these other things in my body. I'm putting these, like, now I have a choice. Now I'm gonna be creating something new than a stomach full of cheap liquor and cigarettes, right? It's the same thing that when religion talks about being born again. And I hate using those words, man, because but it's the same thing when you talk about being born again. To become means to be born again, to be subject to a new, to evolve. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say this, to break a curse, the only way to break a curse is you must become. You must become. How do you become, soul? We'll talk about it heavy on the 20th. Make sure you get registered. But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you 2 things right now, right? The first thing you have to do is walk through that pasture, right? And when I say walk through that pasture, I know a few of y'all know what I'm talking about, man. If you've read A Singular Truth, you understand what I mean when I say walk through that pasture. That pasture is a place on every man's path, on every woman's path, where they're traveling to get to their enlightenment. They're traveling to get to their higher level of understanding. They're traveling to get to their new level of success. And they come to a point where they're faced with all of their traumas. They're faced with all of the negative things that have been talked about them. They're faced with all the childhood violations they've suffered. They're faced with all the curses that have been in their whole lineage. Their whole lineage, right? And most people at that point turn around and go back because facing that trauma is so hard. But I'm gonna tell you this, man, to get to this new level of becoming, to become a new person, to have a new reality, you gotta walk through that pasture and face the things that are bothering you. You gotta face the trauma. And a lot of times that's a conversation. It might be a conversation with somebody that violated you. It might be a conversation with your 5th grade teacher. It might be a conversation with your partner you used to hang with back in middle school, high school, that crossed you. It might be a conversation of a person that scarred you in some way. But regardless of if that conversation takes place or not, the only way to get through that pasture is to forgive. There's no other way. There's no other way. Like when people talk about themselves, when people say they're enlightened, but they still have anger and animosity towards somebody, I call bullshit. Because I'm like, in my mind, I'm saying, I don't know where y'all are, but y'all aren't at the end of this path. If you have anger towards anybody, you aren't in the land of awakening. You can't be. You can't be. You can't be in a place and soaking all this love and be pissed off at anybody. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. It doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? So in order to get to this new level, man, you have to forgive. You know what I'm saying? And of course, that's a long conversation, man, and may take therapy in some people's place. It may take lots of meditation, but it may just take a simple conversation with somebody. But regardless of what it takes, man, identify what the thing is and forgive. And in some cases, you might have to eliminate that part out of your life. It could have been an old relationship, man, and he or she might still want to be friends. And you say, hey, you know what? No, you know what? We ran our course. We forgave each other. Like, let's just move on. Let's just delete our numbers. It could be any person in your life, man, that just say, you know what? Okay, you know what? We served our time together. We did our thing. Like I got to cut this out of my life now. Because a lot of people, I'll say this. A lot of people that are the cause of your, let's use the word trauma, right? You might can go and have that conversation, but they're still doing that same thing. They're saying, oh, yeah, I was wrong, but they're still doing that same thing. So just say, you know what? I forgive you, but let me distance myself because you're still that person. And it just don't fit in my life anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I said this in a video some while ago. I was sitting right here. I said, hey, everybody in your life may not be meant to be there forever. Right? So I'll say that, right? And the second part, man, of becoming, I would just say, I'll say this. And this is crucial. The second part, if I say that the first part is eliminating that source and forgiving, then that second part is being definite. Going back to, got to give credit to Napoleon. Got to give credit to Napoleon in Outwitting the Devil. You have to be definite, which is the same thing as saying a singular truth, which is the same thing as saying there's no other alternative of who I am and where I'm going. There's no other option. If you aren't definite in who you are and where you're going, brother, I'm going to tell you this, you're not going to make it. That path is rough, bro. It's rough. It may sound like it's a skip in the park and we're going towards enlightenment. Bro, no. It's rough. You're gonna hit some valleys. You're gonna hit some I'm gonna tell you it's rough, bro. So you gotta be definite. You gotta be definite of who you are and where you're going and what your truth is, what you're standing on, man. So wrapping it up, brothers. All I want to say is, man, just think about your life today. Think about all the areas in your life that are stagnant. Think about you saying, God dang, I done went and got 20,000 degrees, but my god dang bank account, it really ain't doing much. It's not what you're doing, it's your truth. You're cursed. You've accepted something else. All my relationships end up like this. All my relationships end up with a man putting hands on me or a woman stepping out on me. It's your truth. You've accepted a curse. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying, man, is learn to call a thing what it is. Learn to observe what energy you're soaking up, to create with, and ultimately, man, learn to become, brothers. Learn to become. I see our brothers on the 20.